night for a few of your old teammates last night, Voss.
Yeah, really pleasing to see. I mean, obviously Blackie was a delayed announcement, so we're familiar with that. But Brownie was caught a little bit by surprise, not by what he's achieved, that's for sure. When you reflect on their careers and when they first started with us, and the young teenagers that walked through, they were just absolutely fierce competitors, and they just wanted to get better every single day. Had an amazing work ethic, and the fortunate thing we also had with them was they're just absolutely outstanding people. And we were pretty lucky to get them, and they forged magnificent careers. Obviously early days with when we went on a run as a premiership team, but they had their own careers after that was absolutely spectacular. And so for them to be honoured in the Hall of Fame is just absolutely brilliant. I did let them know that the Hall of Fame dinners are starting to look pretty interesting on our table, so I'm sure we'll have some memorable nights when the time is right.
More to come from that era?
I would hope so. I mean, it would be a natural thing to see, I would think. When the time's right, I would anticipate we'll see some more players. I think the fortunate thing is that you never know how good they are until clearly they finish their careers, but we were lucky enough that we felt like we were a very close bunch, and the fact we were able to achieve success together and they walk away with some of the CVs that they've got now is just truly impressive.
No many names, so you think might be...
No, not today, because I don't want to be biased to anybody else. So, because if I start rolling out names, I'll start leaving guys out. So, I'll let the experts predict who that needs to be.
How happy have you been that training is back and you actually got something to do?
Yeah, well, it's certainly a different feeling when you're on stand down, that's for sure, and not too sure where things lie. I mean, we're all sitting in anticipation around the date. Training becomes extremely urgent now. We've only got probably 3 team training sessions where we're all together, so each of those sessions become critically important, not only from just trying to get the right load into the players, and that's been well discussed about what sort of load that needs to look like, but how do we build that synergy with each other again. And we felt like we were in a really strong place when we left. We felt like we were building a really strong connection across the group and a strong understanding of what was required. So, we would like to be able to pick up where we left off, but we also understand that, if we're just a bit off at the start, then we'll have some things to work on for sure. No, again, just managing the big fella. As we said, we're pretty conscious of the fact that as we ramp it up, we've got to be conscious of how we manage the players as well. He's obviously had some challenges with his body in the past, and he's in good shape. So you might not see him out here today, but you'll see him out there Saturday for sure.
Earlier in the week, Nick Malthouse labelled for Adelaide a tease. Do you think that assessment was fair, or do you think that this group is the real issue?
Well, I think that's the reputation that is certainly coming back towards us. So we can't really do much about what that perception is right now. We understand that we've got to develop a more consistent style in the way we go about things. So we haven't shied away from that at all, and we know where our next step and progression lies within that. So, and if we're able to establish that really high level of standard and execute at a really high level, then I know that we can take the next step. So the only way we get to change that is by going out and playing well week after week, and I'm sure. For right now, people will be waiting to find out what that looks like for us. But we're pretty determined to be able to make sure that every week we treat with equal importance and we go out there and play well.
So with this shortened season, just how important is this first block of games?
Well, they're critical every year, aren't they? But the block of games is pretty fixed because the AFL's made it that way. So you don't get to take your eyes anywhere else except those first 4 or 5 games. And I guess this week we get to look at what those 4 or 5 games look like because we move into the hub environment after our first game. But next week becomes about next week and Adelaide Crows and who we play and how we play them and how we want to execute in that game. And the week after that, then it becomes about Fremantle. So, but it is nice to be able to have a block of games to look at and know what's in front of us.
Do you start tapering off the training next week and go lighter as you enter the match week?
Oh, we will a little. In terms of contact, we won't lighten off. In terms of the time on the track, we probably will. It would be a bit much to expect that we're going to walk out from an 80-minute session on a Thursday and then play as well as we'd like to play 2 days later. So we will pull it back a little bit, but certainly our intensity of training we hope doesn't change at all.
Once you talk about the tees and the reputation of moving trust and discussed previously. Before the season started, there was talk of one with us this year. Why do you think the team that missed the finals the last couple of years are better this year?
I think when you start out any pre-season, I've discussed this before, you start any pre-season, everyone starts with that hope banner. And it's over your body of work that you have over pre-season. You start to look at how you replicate session after session. You see the behaviours of the guys. You see the amount of content that we've been able, and education we've been able to get into our players. So their level of understanding is at a deeper level. And our demographic is coming together really nicely. So when you put all those things together, that hope turns to belief really quickly. But we don't get to prove ourselves until we start playing. So for others out there around the outside, they might be asking that question. But inside, we've got a pretty strong belief that we can replicate what we need.
Do you feel like you can make the jump from obviously a team that was out of the finals to sort of top four as people are talking, and there's a little bit of fairy tale around what this list is able to achieve?
Again, I think what you'll see around the outside is that you'll speculate on finished positions and where we're going to be. If it ends up being that's the result of all the work that we've done, then so be it. But that's not where our mindset needs to lie. We bring confidence because we know that session after session we've been really consistent with what we're delivering, and we know that if you take your eye off the ball and look forward too far, then you can be brought undone. So for us, it's more about probably living in the moment and making sure we get every session right, and that our mindset is more about what this week looks like and what this training looks like, so that we can perform at our very best.
Back through the TV channels last night, 2002, Brisbane beat North Melbourne at Telstra Dome. You started up full, you kicked the bag in the first half, I reckon. Why, if you look back, why do you think footy was so different to then to now, and what are you expecting when it resumes?
Oh, it was different. I don't so much think it's going to be so much different when it resumes. I think the obvious things out there are the time components of each quarter, so that'll change it slightly. And I know there's been a lot of speculation around, well, what a team's going to do and what new things we're going to see. I would think that it's not going to be too much outside of what teams have already done, and it's just based on one thing: time. We've had little time to be able to try and really introduce new things. Our focus has been able to make sure that we execute right, get the fundamentals right. We have a strong understanding of what we need to be able to do. It was really strong when we left. So if our end result is that we can replicate what we got before this break, I think we'd walk away pretty happy. Yeah, I'd anticipate that, because the natural thing that you get when you're first back is you get that excitement, and with that excitement you might just get that little bit more tension. It's going to feel quite different, no doubt, but and guys are going to be really excited. And they probably haven't got the yards under their belt, so it might be a bit scratchy to start off with. But I really hope that as an industry we sort of take our eyes off that a little bit and actually just can sit back with a little bit of gratitude and appreciation of the hardship that people have experienced, and we can appreciate the game for what it is. We're back, we're playing footy, we love footy. Why do we love footy? Go and support your team, barrack for your team as hard as possibly can, and enjoy the good things about our game rather than things that we might not like. Yeah, it sharpens the focus, no doubt. It's I'm only I'm a newbie to the rivalry, but you're left in no doubt where it stands between the two clubs. So no, we want to kick off the season well. Obviously having the 4 points against anybody is pretty important, but it does sharpen your focus when you're playing the Crows first up.
I see your sort of arsenal body work and playing bodies in the midfield here. You've tutored a lot of blokes over the years. Who's impressed you in that area? Who's improved in that area?
Well, as you can imagine, I think that you naturally go straight to your younger players straight away because they have the most growth in their game. The obvious one for me is Toddy Marshall's really sort of developed his his body work and his craft. So he's had another year at it, which is really great to see. Even guys like Connor Rosie and Zach Butters, who are light and probably whippets and still got that amazing agility and speed, but can more than hold their own in their one-on-one battles now, which makes them a much scarier proposition. So we feel like we've had a real enormous amount of growth in that area. It's been a really big focus for us in pre-season. Right now behind you, that's what we're doing. We're focusing on our battles and winning our one-on-ones because it's the fundamental of the game.
Just on that,
Last couple, guys.
You've had Connor kind of move into the midfield a little bit. Do you think that's the safest act when footy resumes to see him around the ball?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that the big thing that we want to make sure that we're getting is sustaining intensity around the footy. Now, you do that by the bodies that are there, but if you can add fresh players through that part of the ground and they can get into the middle of the ground and get a few touches before they go into the forward line, it just builds their confidence and builds their presence within the team. So, I would have thought you'd see a number of players that are rolling through there. That's, I think, a genuine strength of our team right now. If you look forward to the ball, you got Rosie and Butters, Robbie Gray, Ebert, Sam Pepper. They've all spent time through the middle of the ground, and we want to lean on that when the time's right. Pretty good. So Scotty's progressing really, really well. We hope that he'll actually be rolling around the training track on Saturday, actually. So, look, we wait and see. He's got a few boxes to tick before he gets there, but seems to be progressing pretty well. Yeah, same Saturday, and I was sort of hoping Robbie might be able to get going on Saturday as well. So yeah, a few to return.